Okay, well, been a while since I've updated you guys. I'm not gonna do the normal field report or anything. I'm actually gonna talk about something way more serious and I don't know. So, lately, I have not been okay. To put it as plainly as possible, with as much bluntness that I can, I am not okay. I've been far from okay for a while now, and every day it's getting worse. As you guys know, in September, my grandma passed away, and it's been the first death that I've experienced in the family ever. But loss itself is not foreign to me, and I want to be clear about that. I've lost friends and I've lost supports. I've lost things that I enjoy. But that is what I really want to talk about today. Is that the fact that I'm not okay, and the fact that what everything that's happening in my mind, everything that is happening in my mind right now, because I am not okay. I don't feel okay, and every day is a struggle just to get out of that fucking bed and actually live. Like, actually enjoy life. So, with the loss of my grandma, it's triggered something within me that I haven't experienced in 8 years. Something, and I want to be as transparent as possible, but I want to be careful as well, because the last time I made a video talking about this, I wouldn't say it's controversial, but it was upsetting and it upsetted people. And I just want to be transparent but protect the people that are involved as well, because I don't want to push blame, I don't want to point fingers, because after all, the mental health journey starts with you, yourself, or myself in this case, and you have to work on it to get better. And I guess this video is the first step. um So, with the loss of my grandma, it's triggered something in me, and something that is deep in my DNA, deep in the ways, the workings of who you would call a Marineman, Tony, whatever. When I was growing up, I was very clingy and very obsessive, very one track minded, and really just not mentally okay. It started in elementary school and it went through all the way up to high school. Now, it wasn't just one thing, one person. The majority of my high school career was one person, and elementary through middle school was a different person. But as I've been going through therapy this past 3 years, I've been learning more about myself, learning more about the obsession and the workings of my mind. And I think what is the big thing about everything with that is that it really spawns from right down to how I was born. I don't think I mentioned this in any video or any. I can't even imagine any old videos that would mention this. My birth parents were drug addicts. I was a crack baby, and that gave me disabilities. Of course, I found out I was autistic in middle school, and then I didn't pay attention or was alerted to my obsessive behaviors until the latter half of high school. And I think knowing all this now, knowing that all that I know, the obsession, the thing with the birth parents and everything, it's shown me a lot about myself as a person. And I know I'm just rambling, but this is all gonna get to a cascading point, I promise. So in therapy, I talk about one of the people that I used to be obsessed with a lot. And it's it's in every session. At first, it was just understanding and finally grieving the loss of their friendship all these years later, because after high school ended, I just shut it out. I gave up. I didn't contact that person. for a while. It wasn't until 2018 New Year's Day I contacted seeking for any sense of closure. They did reply by it. I don't know what was said, and frankly, it probably didn't matter. And then I made a video going past my messages that I sent to this person over Snapchat in 2020. And it was called I Am an Idiot. And it detailed my obsessive behavior from first getting their Snapchat all the way up until we stopped becoming friends. And it got more manic and it got more depressing and cringy, and it got worse as I went. And by the time we reached the year we stopped being friends, the messages were too hard to read for me, and I ended the video there. That person actually contacted me asking to take the video down and asked to take down any music that I mentioned them in. That was back in 2020. I replied 1 year later because I was too scared to trigger a relapse of the obsession to message them back. So I messaged someone else to send a video format video response to them so they could actually see my face, hear my voice, and actually understand where I was coming from making those videos. Not only that video, but the I'm an Idiot video has been deleted for over a year now because I didn't feel like it was necessary to keep up anymore. No one was watching. They were in the one-off playlist for so long, and I felt they were very personal videos, and frankly, there was no need to keep them up. It wasn't for anyone else. It was mainly for me. And the response video was mainly for that person. So now that it's 2024 and it's been 4 years since the person tried contacting me, a year since I've indirectly contacted them, my obsession has been triggered with the loss of my grandma. And with that loss has triggered the feelings of my obsession tenfold. Wanting to contact this person again is at an all-time high. Wanting to find closure before some freak accident happens to me that I'm not going to be able to find the closure I get is at an all-time high. Wanting to just find a way to fix things is at an all-time high. I feel so fucking stupid because it's been 8 years since I've seen this person in the flesh. I actually seen a video of them on my timeline back in June, and that triggered me and triggered my obsession, and I made the song called The Unknowing about it, and friends were upset about it and try to distance themselves from me because my obsession was triggered. I'm sorry that I have this problem, and I'm sorry that I vent through it and use her by name in the music. The reason I do that is because that's how I get the sense of control that I never felt that I had in my school years. I felt like I had no control over who I was and what was happening with my obsession. I know Onyxt is a character that we all know in What the Fuck Marine and probably in music, but Onyxt was real. And that's not a joke. That's not fake split personality thing. It's not technically a real split personality thing. It's just how I looked at myself back in high school. Completely obsessed and taken over with the fact of wanting any romantic interactions with this person that I found attractive. And I think Onyx is coming back. And that scares me. I laugh, but I find it absolutely ridiculous to say out loud. But I think he's coming back, and I think he's pissed. And I think that the obsession, if I don't quell it soon, it may be bigger than me again. Because back in high school, it got to a point where before my bed would hit the ground from waking up, that person was on my mind, and it was my objective to be around that person as much as possible. Like I was on a mission to be this person's best friend romantic interest, whatever. And it destroyed my high school career. I ended up getting kicked out. I had to go to online schooling and I didn't like it, so I took all my semester courses in one day and graduated 3 months early. And yeah, I went through a whole semester of 6 courses for online schooling in one day and took the exams the next week and I was graduated. And one thing that has always bothered me is that I never got to walk because of it. I never got to walk down the aisle. Well, not down the aisle, that's marriage, right? Well, got to walk for graduation, you know, got the diploma. So, like, in our high schools, graduations are huge. They're held in a stadium, like a big stadium. Because that's how many people were graduating, and all their parents were there. I didn't get to experience that, and that hurt. And I resented this person for years because of that. And it wasn't until recently until I could forgive myself for completely succumbing to Onyxt. And when I say that, I'm not trying to not take responsibility either. I take full responsibility what I did in high school, even though I felt like I had no control. But succumbing to Onyxt, and I had resentment against this person because I felt like it's a long situation, and I would have to detail it from beginning to end, from very naive beginnings to the very bitter end of how our friendship went. Or I wouldn't even call it a friendship, I would call it a acquaintanceship that just was really awkward most of the time. And it wasn't inherently awkward in the moment, but looking back at it now, this is one of the things that I struggle with. There's so many questions. There's so many questions, and I want to detail what happens, but it would take so long. It would take so long. And I don't want to, like, if that person sees this video, I don't want them to think, oh my god, he's obsessed with me again. That's not entirely true. It's just the obsession is triggered with the loss of my grandma. Because loss is the trauma that I have from high school. Like, from this one girl, and then I met someone else, loss, supports. Loss is my trauma, and it's my trigger for my obsession. Very much like how touring is the trigger for Eminem's addiction, losing people is the trigger for my obsession, and frankly, if you really want to be real, it was an addiction overall. That's how it was. The entire thing, seemed like it was a dopamine hit every freaking time. And it just got really uncomfortable at the end. So with all that, and I'm kind of slimly reminiscing on high school years because I did a lot of that today with friends. I talk about all about that stuff and my mental health on stream. I feel like I'm not okay. Like, since this person's starting to get on my mind, and the urge to want to contact me is bigger and bigger by the week. And then, like, I feel like if Tony and Onyxt were real, they'd be having one long fucking battle right now. And I mean a whole Keyblade War, brother. And this is lasting forever. If the war started in September, bruh, I think the war is gonna go on for a while. Unless I figure it out. One thing my therapist and my case manager has told me is that it's not about this person that I was so obsessed with. It's not about them. It's about what they represented. It's about my sense of self, the way I want that person to see me, or something like that. Like, I don't, how do I explain this? For the sense of self thing, it's like finding self-worth. Finding any self-worth, because back then I felt like I was worthy when they would talk to me, or when they interact with me, or when they would hug me. I felt I was worthy. And then what they represent, obviously they represent a sense of belonging. They represent the sense of self, like I said. They represent the idea of normalcy that they constantly shove down my throat that I fucking hate. It's like I feel like if someone said normal to me, like, because like I would ask them how was their day was, they would say normal, and then other times they're like, you just gotta be normal, blah 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 blah. When I was talking to, I feel like a sleeper agent because I feel like if a random person would say that to me, my sleeper agent obsession would trigger, and then it's over. Like it's over. But like this idea of normalcy, she represents the obsession. She represents my birth parents' addiction to their drugs, and she represents so much. It's never it's never been about her, and that's kind of sad. And the reason why I say that is that even back then, we had nothing in common. Nothing at all. It was just, I was a gamer, and she was, how would I even describe her now from back then? She wore all black. She liked Tyler the Creator. I liked Eminem. We just didn't, we weren't compatible at all. And that's the crazy thing. It's like even when I was around her and I knew like this is never gonna work, but I love her to death is what I told myself back then. And it was like it was so fucking stupid. It was so fucking stupid, and I like and you see what I'm doing. I'm like reminiscing on this stuff and smiling like a fucking idiot because like there were good times in the darkness. Like, there were good times in the darkness, and I like to reminisce on those good times. But I know if I were to contact them now, I don't know how they would feel. I don't know if they would be okay. I don't know what trauma they have. Like, that's another thing. I feel guilty because I don't know how I affected them. To this day, I don't know if they have, like, some trauma from what I've done. So, another thing I think is important to mention is that back in 2015, no, 2014. No, I think it was 2015. I think it was October 2015. How did I do this without POSing? I was gonna self-destruct next to her because she was finally pushing me away. She was upset at some music that I've wrote, and she kept me around. Like, I was able to sit next to her and stuff, and she just wasn't talking to me, and it was driving me absolutely crazy, and I felt like I hurt her. The main thing back then is that I've hurt her and I felt bad, and it drove me insane. So I was gonna self-destruct by, how do I do this? By I'm just gonna say by overdosing. I was going to OD next to her. That was the plan. And the day I was gonna do it is the day when I finally got help and was stopped right when I was about to do it. And I cannot imagine what would happen if I went through with that and wasn't stopped. I don't can I can't imagine how I would, like, if I felt guilty now about all that stuff, I would feel so guilty about that, and I just can't. If I would have made it through it, and I just wouldn't know how I'd be okay with myself. But yeah, there's a lot, and there's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of sadness, and there's a lot of dark feelings that goes with this obsession, and it's all triggered by the loss of my grandma. Now, I'm gonna work at it. I'm not just gonna disappear one day and not be here anymore. I'm gonna work through it. I'm not gonna quit the content thing because that's what makes me happy. That what makes me fulfilled now, and chasing after a person that wasn't even straight to begin with, which is kind of funny to even say out loud, that I was obsessed with someone that wasn't even straight, but or even bi. He wasn't either one of those. So yeah, I think I talked enough. I just wanted to let you guys know the Keyblade War is happening within my heart right now, and it's very dark, but I'll get through it. I'll continue working on getting the Black Ops 6 Let's Play out. I think the next episode's the Zombies mission. Yeah, I'll see you, Mrs. Spartans, on the next mission. Thank you for hearing me out. I'm going to try to edit this tonight and make it more digestible, so there's not as many pauses and stuff. And for the love of God, I hope She's not gonna be upset that I even talked about this, because I don't plan dropping her name. I don't plan sending this to her. I don't even plan, like, even though I have this urge to contact her, I know I'm gonna come out on top and not. And Onyx can suck a fucking dick.